Right, it's time to talk hybrids. Callaway Paradym Hybrids for 2023. If you're looking for a new hybrid for the year, it is a really important club in the bag because it maps out the top end of your bag. It's the gap from iron up into your metal side of your bag. So I'm here at Concept Golf today to talk to Mark O'Mahony about Callaway Paradym, what they're offering for this year, the performance benefits, and just let's dig in.
Yeah, Pete. With the two heads, I think what's cool is their storyline from the tech side still stays the same with the construction, AI construction in the face and in that perimeter weighting that they're offering. There's a slightly different construction in the face naturally from driver, fairway and now into hybrid. Obviously a very different tool and has multi-functions and usage within the bag. So they have this approach of like a cupped face, which offers ultimate stability and optimizes flight and just control of the golf ball.
Outside of that then, outside of the cupped face, obviously we've got batwing technology. There it is again, batwing technology on the jailbreak side of things. And then the sole as well is different.
Yeah, naturally so, because the interaction with the ground is going to be a lot more of. So they'll have to, or they have kind of constructed it slightly different for weighting purposes, stability purposes. But naturally, it's a steel body, a steel undersole for that interaction and reaction that they're looking for.
So we have a Paradym and a Paradym X, no triple diamond in this product. Why is that?
Yeah,
is it a simple answer, or is it something stupid I'm asking?
Naturally enough, the better player won't really need a vast array of loft in a hybrid. You know, kind of that better player will probably either not play a hybrid, or if they do, they'll have one. So this kind of really branches into Paradym and Paradym X, and the key difference is going to be in the profile. So the profile in the X head is a tiny bit bigger, with a little bit more offset to just help for that player on off-centered hits, but equally for just a little bit more performance in maybe drawing or kind of neutralizing a ball flight. In the Paradym X as well, it also has the additional loft option in 30 degrees. As you move into the Paradym itself, it has a nice kind of profile, a little bit more straighter top line, not as kind of offset, so moderate enough. And that will give the golfer in this area of the game a little bit shot making, workability. And then the loft configuration in both with the additional 30 goes from 18, 21, 24 and 27. So there's nice 3-degree gaps there, which is what you'd see anyway at that top side of the bag before you branch into maybe 4 or 5 gaps between kind of the shorter clubs.
When you see players in here, there's a lot of wastage, I would say, at the top end of the bag, that gap from iron into your metals. So having that many options in the Paradym available to sort of plug those gaps, make sure it's a seamless transition from iron into metal, is it's quite a big thing, and it's becoming more prevalent in golfers these days of bridging those gaps at the top end.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the great thing what manufacturers are offering us now is ultimately a lot more loft options. Not necessarily the requirement of filling all of those options with hybrids or whatever it may be, but to your point, it does allow a gapping story to kind of take place, and fitting for purpose again. Like I've often fitted players from 8-iron up to a lob wedge, you know, and their hybrid starts at what 7-iron would generally be. And that can be down to a lot of reasons, be it the output of performance, covering different needs and meeting different requirements for all golfers. It's not just a certain category, by the way. So I think this is a really important aspect of a bag setup, because all too often I see 2-3 clubs in the bag for, be it nostalgia purposes or kind of just doing one job, that ultimately one out of, take the 3 out and put the 1 in, and you're getting all of the performances wrapped in one.
Very like the fairways, how does the jailbreak batwing technology work in behind this face? What makes it so stable, so good, and offer the sort of flight and distance characteristics that Paradym are offering in a hybrid?
So that will come in with the AI technology that they have. So within that kind of cupped face construction, each face is different to the loft. So they still have the same body approach or chassis approach with that batwing technology, pushing it out to the perimeter to stiffen and make the support mechanism, if you will, for the face. And then with that AI technology, they just develop or they move per loft.
It's like a flexation story then. You're bracing top to bottom, like crown to sole, flexation, ball speed.
100%. Like with a hollow head, you're going to get deflection across the face. It's how and what support systems you put in place to help deflect that and to create that support is key. And this is where they've continued that story from their metals into their hybrid.
Looking down on this as well, it's a tidy package, isn't it? Like looking down on this, it's nice, plain, just your little Callaway alignment aid on the top. Really is good. The white score lines are quite visible for alignment, for setting up. It just sets up well, it sits well, very like the fairway woods. It's a seamless transition from this into the fairway woods as well. And performance-wise, it's off the charts. Like when you're hitting it well.
100%, and I think again, not only with the loft story, but there's a lot of confidence in the profile of the head. Again, as you kind of put that club head behind the ball and how it frames it is very important. And to your point, the score lines and kind of how the golfer can see the face is going to be quite inspiring with confidence and just give them the belief that they're going to make contact and get that kind of performance they're looking for. And equally that's the Paradym X, by the way, that I'm alluding to, but the Paradym itself, again, for me, is a lovely straight top line that I think just offers a little bit more of a flatter look to it. And that's a really kind of inspiring profile because it gives you a little bit of workability, which we never really saw with a hybrid, because when hybrids came out kind of many years ago,
left machines.
That's all, just high in distance and that's it. Whereas they're a little bit more functioning now, functional. And as I said earlier, to bring it into kind of the composition makeup, they're a really important part of the bag now. A
lot of better players are like we're seeing a lot of hybrids spring up on tour. You know, you're seeing a lot more high lofted fairways. You're seeing a lot of hybrids making into bags at certain tour events as well. So like you really are missing a trick if you're not experimenting with hybrids. And if you're in the market for like a Callaway 3-wood or you're messing about with the driver and stuff like that, you'd be silly to overlook something like this as a gap.
100%. And if it works for you, as in the appeal and the attraction of what it offers, brilliant. And if it doesn't, the story can continue within the kind of the loft sequence in the fairways. So I think really there could be a nice composition or bag composition that actually mightn't even carry 14 clubs in the bag for certain individuals, which is okay. You know, just because the ruling is 14 doesn't mean we need to match that. Yeah. You know, as I've always said, fit for purpose, and let that kind of gap distance story speak for itself with be it 10, 12, 13 clubs in the bag. But you'll know that committing to that they're functioning clubs and they're all fit for purpose.
What are the key takeaways you have then to wrap it up on Paradym Hybrids of what you feel really maximises the performance of this club as to what Callaway have brought to the table this year?
I think more than ever you can't get away from the face approach to what they've brought. They're ultimately allowing that individual maximise their opportunity of yardage. And then with the loft configuration in behind that, you're going to optimise flight. I think the profile is the big thing for me though with the hybrid side of things. The change in the offset in the Paradym X, along with the slightly bigger head, is going to be inviting for that golfer who just needs forgiveness and distance. Equally, the Paradym is a little bit more straighter, not as kind of offset and a little bit smaller, is inviting for that golfer who might be just drawn to hybrids and wants a little bit of workability. So for me, it's the face, number one, and number two, it's the profile.
Right, so there we have it with Callaway Paradym Hybrids. As we alluded to in the video, there's so many loft options in this. It really is a gapping story. The performance benefits are there to marry this in with the fairway woods and what Callaway's overall offering are. Turf interaction, weighting with the batwing jailbreak technology. It really is a full package. Don't be afraid to play around with this. Like if you've an 8-iron 7-iron is your most comfortable area with hitting an iron. Literally, there's a Paradym option in the hybrid to take you right the way up to your fairway woods. Don't be afraid to mess with it, don't be afraid to loft up, and really just play around with that end of your bag. The performance benefits are there to be unlocked, and Callaway Paradym really smashed it out of the park this year.